my office filed a lawsuit against the National Rifle Association to dissolve the organization in its entirety for years of self-dealing and illegal conduct that violate New York's charities law and undermine its own mission.
I have to say, none of that actually makes sense. She claimed the NRA members were victims of financial mismanagement, but if the members are the victims, why would you want to shut the organization down altogether, victimizing them even further? So the NRA sued back. Here's the reality. The NRA and its leader, Wayne LaPierre, has worked hard to turn things around. I've called it a much-needed reset, and now I'm told they are in the best financial position they have been in decades. So understand this. No matter what the media wants to tell you, the bankruptcy is simply being used as a tool to escape New York. You don't have to be insolvent to use bankruptcy as a tool. You can use it to simply reorganize your organization. And that is what the NRA is doing here. And it's about time they get out of New York. Let me remind you, it's not just that Letitia James that is out for the destruction of the nation's oldest civil rights organization, but Governor Cuomo is too. You remember in 2018, he wrote letters to banks and insurance companies urging them not to do business with the NRA. The goal there was to squeeze the financial lifeblood out of the NRA. It did not work. So to help explain the NRA's moves here, I want to welcome the first vice president of the NRA and member of the audit committee there on the board, Charles Cotton, to the program. Charles, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Grant. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. And I guess my first question is, what took so long? Why were you guys hanging around in New York for as long as you did before moving to Texas?
You know, Grant, you're about the 1,500th person to ask me exactly that question. I mean, New York was our roots. I mean, it was established the NRA was established in 1871 by then Union General. So it's not easy just to turn your back on your heritage, let's say, but it became so obvious that it was the right thing to do for our members.
You know, they were using, I call it political persecution against the NRA. And I've always said, today it's the NRA, tomorrow it's Judicial Watch, now we see it's Newsmax. This fight against New York right now is really for a lot more than just gun rights, isn't it?
Oh, it's a lot more. I mean, the lawsuits that you mentioned earlier, not Letitia James's lawsuit to dissolve us, but the lawsuit that we filed against the governor because of his extortion letters to banks and insurance companies are absolutely a First Amendment case. They're not Second Amendment cases. And that's why the ACLU came in on our side of the issue. And let's face it, they're kind of strange bedfellows. But as they said, if New York can do it to the NRA, then a red state AG could do the same thing to Planned Parenthood or the ACLU. We're talking about advocacy here in the First Amendment, not the Second Amendment in that lawsuit.
All right, so I know you use everything at your disposal within the law to try to change the situation. Part of changing the situation means moving to Texas. You use bankruptcy to make this happen. And how it was described to me is you don't have to be insolvent to claim bankruptcy. You can do it to reorganize. Explain to me the process and the thinking behind using bankruptcy here.
Okay, Grant, and I'll have to give it at a little bit of a high level. I'm an attorney, but I don't practice in the bankruptcy courts. But the way you described it is exactly right. Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Code allows individuals and companies to reorganize. So we used that to allow us to file in Texas, because we have a Texas subsidiary here, to file in Texas, and we will go through the process there to reincorporate in the state of Texas. And this assumes, obviously, that the bankruptcy judge allows us to do so. We have every reason to believe that will be the case because it's the best for our members. It will allow us to continue with our mission without a corrupt government in New York doing everything they can to put us out of business.
So vendors don't have to worry about not getting paid or anything like that?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I mean, what the plan that we propose to present, and when I talk about a plan, it's a plan to reorganize. It's going to involve paying every creditor 100 cents on the dollar plus any interest they have coming. So they're going to get full payment plus interest and we're going to reorganize in Texas.
All right. Lastly, let me ask you, what do you say to members? What I hear from my friends at the NRA is that membership is exploding. The finances are in good shape. Clearly, we have a huge battle ahead of us with Joe Biden, and we know his feelings about literally trying to wipe out the Second Amendment. What do you tell membership? I'll give you the last word, Charles.
The members are responding tremendously. I mean, they are elated that we're getting out of New York and going to Texas. And just to give you an idea of how many new members are coming on board, Grant, between January the 1st of this year and I think the 12th or 13th, something like that, we had something on the order of 102,000 or 105,000 new members just during that less than 2-week period. People understand this move to Texas is the greatest thing for the NRA, for gun owners in the United States, and for the Second Amendment.
Well, I mean it when I tell you. The only thing standing between the Second Amendment right now and the left's quest to destroy it is the NRA, and it is a very important organization to fight back against that. So I'm pulling for you, of course. Charles Cotton, thank you for what you're doing there, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Grant. I appreciate it.
All right, absolutely. And now I want to bring in someone who's very familiar with New York State's adversarial relationship with the NRA, former senator, and now a Newsmax analyst. Senator Alphonse D'Amato is with us. Senator, thank you and congratulations coming to Newsmax.
Grant, great being with you. It's a delight. And by the way, Mr. Cotton put it the right way. And when he said, we're paying everybody. This is a way for us to move out of the state, to reincorporate in Texas, where the people support us, where the government supports us. And by the way, we just forget the Constitution. I mean, the Constitution, Article 2, number 2. I've read this just now. And let me just take the time to read this. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the state, still, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So here in the Constitution, they say, yeah, we have a military. We have police. They don't spell it out, but that does not take away the right of a person to bear arms. And it's unfortunate that the politicians in this state have gone after the NRA in the way they have. It's kind of like CNN going after Newsmax because they don't want competition. And the politicians don't want to have a well-funded organization putting forth the Constitution and saying, this is a right of people to bear arms, to protect themselves, to protect their homes, to protect their families. And with the crime so rampant,
Senator,
how many people get convicted of crimes who do it with a gun that's registered legally? 90+% are guns that are not. Go after the criminals. Concentrate on them. Yeah. Don't go after an organization that supports the right of law-abiding citizens to protect their families, to protect their homes. And
Senator, you know what I'm so concerned about is the weaponization of the federal government, and now with unchecked power. In Washington, we've got complete unchecked power with Congress being controlled by the Democrats and now the White House as well. New York is a very similar situation. They weaponize the government against whether you're a gun owner, whether you're a reporter and you're on Newsmax and you want to exercise free speech. If they don't agree with you, they persecute you by using the government. That's a very dangerous place to be, sir.
Yep. Put you out of business. Take a look at the criminal justice system and what's taken place in New York over the past year, where it is impossible for a judge in many, many instances to hold a person or to set bail that he, the judge, or she, the judge, may consider dangerous. They say, no, unless you've used a weapon, etc., a gun, you can't set bail. Okay, and so you have this one guy goes around holding up banks with notes. I think he's done it 6 times. But after his first conviction, or charge, he's released. He goes out 2 days later, he does it again. He's released again. He goes a third time. He's released again. We're making a mockery of the criminal justice system in the state of New York. And Letitia James should be going after the bad guys and not the NRA.
Yeah. Well, that's advice she ought to take. Senator Al D'Amato, it's a pleasure having you on the program. Again, congratulations on coming to the Newsmax family, and we'll get you on again soon.
Good being with you, and I'm willing to take CNN on with you.
Come on, I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with you, Senator. Thank you, as always.